So the Matterhorn is one of my favorite rides at Disneyland, and in addition to being a really fun roller coaster, it has some really interesting backstory. So I want to share with you 10 fun facts about it, while also giving you a little peek at the actual ride. Now before we get to the ride, let's talk about the actual Matterhorn. The Matterhorn is an actual mountain that lies in the Alps on the border in between Italy and Switzerland. The Matterhorn first became really famous in 1865 when a team of men led by Edward Whymper, who was totally not a wimp, made it to the summit. Though they did successfully make it to the summit, their descent was not so great. Actually, 4 men died on the way down, but all this drama really made people hear about the mountain for the first time, which led to a lot of tourism in the end. Now, one interesting connection between the deaths on the mountain, the Matterhorn, and the Matterhorn at Disneyland is that there actually have been 2 deaths on Disneyland's Matterhorn. The first was in 1964 and the second was 20 years later, and both of them were probably the result of people not properly buckling up. So when you do get on the ride, make sure that you buckle up and stay in your seats as the people direct you to. But let's get back to the actual origins of the Matterhorn roller coaster. Before the Matterhorn existed, in its place stood a little hill that was a pile of dirt resulting from the excavation of the moat surrounding Cinderella's castle. They called this area Holiday Hill, and they decorated it with little paths and benches where people could have picnics and just hang out. Unfortunately, a lot of couples decided to use it as a little lover's lane, which I think the Disney personnel weren't too thrilled about, so they decided they needed to build something a little bit more exciting there. Originally, Walt Disney wanted to build a toboggan ride on that hill with actual snow and sleds, but apparently that idea didn't go over so well, so instead they decided to build a more actual mountainy looking mountain and a roller coaster. So let's talk about the ride's design more. The Matterhorn, which made its debut in June of 1959, is the world's first steel tubular roller coaster. It has 2 separate tracks that cars will go on simultaneously. One is called the Fantasyland track and one is called the Tomorrowland track. Here's a fun fact about the way that the Matterhorn messes with our perception. The Matterhorn utilizes forced perspective to appear larger than it is. One way that they do this is to have trees smattered around the mountain, but trees that are lower down are actually larger than the trees that are higher up, which makes those higher up trees seem farther away. Pretty cool, huh? Now here's an interesting fact about the development of the ride. Originally, the mountain was totally hollow inside. You just kind of go in and out of this big, huge construction. And then in the 1970s, they added more icy tunnels to make it seem like a more realistic mountain. Later on in the ride's existence, they also added the Abominable Snowman. Fun fact about him, there are actually 3 of him on the ride, 3 animatronic scary men, and there's also that red pair of eyes that you see as you're going up to the top of the ride. Here's a fun fact about another ride that's closely associated with the Matterhorn. Before the Matterhorn was constructed, a ride called the Skyway, which had hanging cars that went across the park, had a large supporting pole right where the top of the mountain was, and the mountain actually concealed a lot of it. The Skyway ride actually traveled through the top of the mountain until 1994 when it was closed down. Now, one of my favorite parts of the ride are the splashdown pools. A cool thing about them is that they actually serve some structural purposes with the ride, in that they not only help to slow down the cars because of the water, but they also cool the brake pads. Finally, and I think this is really fun, in the base of the mountain there used to be half of a basketball court that was used by the climbers that sometimes appear on the side of the mountain as a little recreational break area. Unfortunately, the basketball court was taken down in 2001, but under the mountain at its base there still is a cast member break area. So yeah, the Matterhorn is even more awesome than you might assume it is just by seeing it and riding on it. Has all these cool little backstories and fun facts. So next time you find yourself waiting in line on that ride, you can share these facts with your friends and impress them, and then have even more fun once you're on the ride. Surely you'll be a hero, because goodness knows we all need something to talk about while we're waiting in line.